Hello and welcome to the Sports Express Network, bringing you the best of the community sport lifestyle. I'm Rob Bennett, Dan O'Hara, and introducing Tommy Friedenberg into the mix. Tommy, a UNC grad, we don't hold that against him, but he's joining the team.
Sometimes you can't help it, you know. Sometimes you can't help where you're born.
All right, but take a look at this face because Tommy's going to be out on the fields and bringing you all of the best things happening out there in your backyard.
From Pop Warner to the Dome, from 5Ks to marathons, from Little League to work leagues, focusing on the community sports lifestyle in Central New York.
As we do every week, going to start off talking about the Auburn Pride semi-professional football team. Just ended their season. Tough loss to the Syracuse Strong, the undefeated Syracuse Strong. Finish at what, 4-6, Coach?
Yep, came off a 4-game win streak. Didn't get a show last week. Our producer was on vacation, but we went down to Ithaca, took care of business there, 32-14. Had to throw James under the bus. But, good showing by defense. Offense put some points on the board. Keyshawn Jones, our buck, I think he had another pick six. I mean, the kid's all over the place. Yeah. But we got two guys that are being looked at right now. I don't want to get it out there just yet. We got to compile some more film, send it off, and hopefully they'll get invited to a camp. But I consider this as a rebuilding year. We've got some guys that are going to hang up the cleats. We're going to need O-linemen. We're going to need a quarterback. We're going to need a couple quarterbacks, some wide receiver. I mean, there's holes that we need to fill. So, it starts right now. We're getting the word out there. We're going to, talk to some local colleges, Morrisville, Albany, see if there's guys in the area that want to continue their playing career and see what happens. So,
So just in summary, Pride starts off 0-5, pretty much 5 tough losses in each and every one of those games. Defense playing lights out, offense struggling. Offense kind of gets its swagger a little bit, starts putting some points on the board, go on a big 4-game winning streak, get you right back into the playoff hunt. And then, tough loss to Syracuse, who I think of 17, 18 games in a row, maybe the top semi-professional team in the country right now. Looking to do some other things too, but again, 20-0 the first game. What was it, 17-0 this game? Guys held tight with Syracuse, and you gotta somewhat feel good about the rebuilding process going into next season.
Yeah, defense we're pretty solid. As long as the guys come back. Charles Gary picked off Boltis twice. So we had chances, but. When you have those miscues, the fumbled snaps, and it just compounds, and you lose field position, and they bring a lot of pressure on special teams. Yeah. So you're under the gun when you punt. Very very good coached football team, good athletes. Want to give Josh Thomas a shout out. Plays for Syracuse, number 3 wide receiver. Great athlete. Devastating ankle injury. It's been a long time since I've seen something like that on the football field, but got a chance to text with him. He's doing pretty good. Had surgery. He's doing good. So we wish him the best. And I put on social media. Football's family. Doesn't matter who you play for or what side of the ball you're on. This is kind of a special breed of people. So we try to hold that family value. I just wish other teams took it that with respect too, and we wish Josh the best, and I'm sure he'll be back. I don't see him staying away.
He's that kind of kid.
Yeah, I think if they fused his leg together, he'd still be out there running routes. So
So we're going to continue to cover the NFA playoffs going forward. Number 1 seed Syracuse Strong.
Yep.
Number 2 seed Troy Fighting Irish.
Yep.
Who's the 3rd seed?
I believe it's Monroe County, and then Lockport Wildcats.
Okay, so we'll have Syracuse versus Lockport and Troy versus
Well,
Monroe.
1 and 2 get a bye.
Okay.
I think I'm not sure how it goes. I think 1 and 2 get a bye. 4 plays 1 of the other division. It's I was worried about Auburn. That's what I was worried about. So now I can focus on a little high school football. So.
All right. So Tommy, I want to bring you into the mix. You've covered everything, a lot of ACC sports, football, baseball, basketball. What did you think of the semi-professional football that you saw Saturday night out at Holland Stadium?
One of the things that stuck out to me the most, actually, from the Josh Thomas injury is how much these guys risk, no matter what level they're playing. That's a guy. He's out there playing just for love of the game. He's playing because he can, because he wants to, and he goes out and the ambulance has to take him off the field. So I applaud the dedication of these guys who are playing in front of, just their family in high school stadiums and that kind of thing. And the quality at times was better than I expected in my first game, especially the Syracuse quarterback, Jason Boltus. Yeah. He's throwing darts all over the place. Rashad Burns is a good running back for them. He finished every single run and had an impressive touchdown where he beat a couple guys. So all in all, for my first NFA game, I thought it was pretty good, even though Auburn obviously struggled on offense a little bit.
Well, that has been the story of the season. I give Jabron Thomas all the credit in the world. He goes out and battles and does everything that he can, but it was tough to go through the number of quarterbacks that the Pride have lost this season, and it all kind of starts and ends right there.
Well, I felt bad for Jabron off the get-go. He was sick all week. Yep. Came to the field and said, "Coach, I got the flu." Well, that's probably something you shouldn't tell me 10 minutes before the game that you had the flu. But, he's a competitor. I know he was upset when he got pulled, and I understand it. I get it. But, as a coach, you got to find ways to win football games. Yep. And, it is what it is. I mean, it's, tough year, a lot of adversity. Him missing all week of practice, being sick, didn't help his cause or our cause. So, sometimes you make decisions that, you second guess those decisions, but I don't know if I would change anything.
Okay.
So,
what do you see, how do your players learn from playing against a team like the Crunch, who have won all these consecutive games? The Strong.
Yeah,
the Strong, not the hockey team.
Yeah, football,
not the hockey team. So playing against teams like the Strong, who have all these players who have played in the Arena League, they've got college awards under their belts and that sort of thing, and they show up and they obviously they know what they're doing. Is there some of that you can sort of take to your team and say, guys, if we want to get to their level, this is how we have to do things?
It's about preparation. You can only prepare as much as your team allows you to prepare. And when you have practice on a Tuesday and you have 10 guys at practice, you're not going to prepare for a game.
Right.
I can look at film and I can watch film for hours and see how they can be beaten. But if you don't put that plan into action, it's not going to happen. I mean, you basically go out there, Greg Bell is the offensive coordinator, and basically, run plays that you know that you can get something on, but if one guy doesn't understand the play calling or doesn't do his route right, it's about reps, about practice, getting reps and getting better. And that's something that looking forward that we've got to do a better job of is getting guys there and getting the reps in. The thing is they're grown men, they have lives, they have jobs, they have families, and sometimes it's difficult to get 20, 30 guys at practice, but what it comes down to is committing 100%.
Yeah, Tommy, I think you hit the nail on the head. I've had the privilege of being involved with the Pride, covering the Pride for the last couple of years, and I just can't tell you the number of times you've heard from the coaching staff and heard from the players, let's get together, let's practice, let's get this thing going. We want to win a championship. We want to do this. We want to do that. But at the end of the day, and I don't mean to call any guys out, but other stuff got in the way of this Pride team. Obviously, some injuries and injuries to quarterbacks, but the rest of the guys as well, allowed all the rest of the things going on in their lives. Maybe rightfully so. I don't know. I didn't sign up to play on that team, but they chose to do all of those things as opposed to go to practice and put the work in to go beat a team like the Syracuse Strong. And that's going to be the key to success going forward.
Yeah, I mean, obviously if you've prepared, it shows on the film. If you haven't, it shows on the film. And obviously, we can't sit here and say what they were doing, why they weren't able to give the time that maybe they needed to. But regardless of what it was, that's the result.
There's some other big factors we had where literally missing 3 offensive linemen. Our right tackle Steve Kleino was on vacation. Colin Dillenbaugh inherited the Port Barn head coaching job, and he couldn't be there.
Yep.
And Art's out on a knee injury, so we had our fullback playing offensive guard. He did a hell of a job. I got to give Matt Warren credit.
Matt is tough as nails.
Yeah, he did a great job.
Puts on his helmet and goes to work.
Yeah, put Tyron McGyver out at left tackle. He did a pretty good job, against 2 solid defensive ends they had. But when you have these slides and coverages and slides and protection, and they may not understand it or get it, and it makes things tough. We didn't pick up a couple blitzes we should have. That would have been easy pickups, but you had Zach Singer there, and you had RJ and Brian Murray, and they did a great job communicating to the other guys what we needed done. So hindsight's always 20/20, but we did the best we could with what we had, and it's the end of the 2019 season. So hopefully next year we get some more bodies, get some more athletes, and get to work.
Public service announcement to everyone in the area: if you have an interest in playing football at the highest level, contact the Auburn Pride. What's the best way to reach us?
Best way, honestly, is the Facebook.
Yeah.
Look up the page, send us a message, and I got to correct. Matt King is 48, not 50. But he's 48 years old, and he still plays at a high level.
Extremely high level.
Comes with a lot of fire, and I love the guy. So you're never too old if your body can do it.
Coach O'Hara is looking at you. If you think you can still play this game, want to play this game, doesn't matter if you're 19 years old or 48 years old.
Talking to James.
I'm talking to James. I'm talking to everyone in the area. The Auburn Pride, you've got a great board. You've got a very strong supporting cast. All the pieces of the puzzle are there. Just need to find, a couple more players, a couple more dedicated players. And, I love these guys. I love what they do out there. And, everyone putting their lives aside for a couple of days a week to go play the game that they love. But at the end of the day, need some more bodies that can put the work in that requires to be successful at the great game of football.
Well, the end result is that it looks like we may have 2 guys going for an arena tryout. So I look at the team doing their job.
Yep.
The coaches doing their job, getting the film out to these guys and showing what they can do. So we'll probably know in the next couple of weeks of whether they'll be on the road or not. So.
Okay. All right. Well, that's a wrap for the 2019 Auburn Pride season. What's in store for the future? We'll see.
We got high school football coming up. That's what's in store.
Absolutely. Now we're going to move our focus into high school football, soccer, volleyball, and all the other great activities going
Basketball
on
right
in
around
your
the corner,
backyard.
too.
Basketball's coming.
I'm excited.
Okay, we're now ready to talk some Auburn Pride football. I'm Rob Bennett. This is Dan O'Hara. We're here with Auburn coach Dave Moskov. Coach, thanks for joining us.
Excited to be here. Thank you.
Thanks for coming in. So last year, first year in Division A, pretty respectable 5-4 record. Losses really to only some of the big boys in Section A football. And Union Endicott, are they an A school or are they a double A school still?
They are an A school.
Okay.
Yep.
I should know that. I'm a Union Endicott alumnus a long time ago. But yeah, two losses to Indian River, one to Whitesboro, one to Union Endicott. Very good initial year in Class A. I know that's something that people around here were waiting for a long time to kind of deal with schools of the same size as the city. Let's talk a little bit about last year, and we'll use that as a segue into today's conversation.
It's a jump. I've been here for 23 years, and we've kind of, as the population's declined in Auburn, certainly our enrollment at the football program has also declined, and we were really in the last probably almost 10 years, we were the third smallest school in New York State in AA classification. So, I mean, it definitely put a strain on the program. We felt we were very competitive, and we were in the sectional semis. The issues we had in that configuration is if you had an injury, if you had a down year, because of our size, those were exacerbated on the field. And you had some real mismatches for us. And we knew we were in tough games that under very, very strenuous circumstances would you be able to compete with those teams. So I think the state did the right thing, and they adjusted the numbers. And what that did for us is open the door to play schools our own size.
Sure.
And it was a brand new learning curve for us because it was every school we played.
Got to get familiar with the new clubs.
We had no idea, what they ran. We got an education about the geography in New York State because we were up in Indian River. We were down in Corning, out to Whitesboro. So we were all over the state. There were beautiful venues. The A was everywhere we went. The schools treated us so well.
Oh, that's great.
The setups were great. And the competition was fantastic. And we learned that there was really, you could take AA and A, and there's definitely a crossover.
Sure.
There's that crossover zone from the top of A's. They cross over with that AA, and they're just as competitive, just as tough, and some great programs.
So again, we mentioned very respectable 5-4 season with a pretty young team. I think only 8 seniors last year.
That's right.
Led by running back Kishar Bowman and his 20 carries a game. How do you replace that?
Well, I think that was our challenge. Is we looked at defenses, the way they were playing us, and we really felt that we needed to develop our passing game because we did rely on the ground game, 20, 25 carries a game. In the past, we've had tailbacks that might be 30 carries a game. So we kind of spent a lot of time in the offseason looking at what we had coming back, looking at our skill sets, and that's really started with our quarterback, Troy Cherney. As he took over midseason, we said, boy, this is an opportunity with our receivers returning. Shahid Beal was an honorable mention All-State player, just numbers all over the place. Owen Spearing, just fantastic at blocking and working as a receiver as well. So really we said, we've got a great backfield this year, as strong as we've ever had, but we're going to see these teams again, the Indian River. We know how they play us, and they're going to put about 8-9 guys in that box. They're going to pack it in, and it's our job to loosen them up. And if they don't want to loosen up, we've got to be able to move the ball down the field.
Yeah, long history of great running backs in Auburn. You going to let Troy air it out a little bit more this year?
Well,
coming back for his junior season?
He's certainly better. That's the plan. Yeah. He's got some great opportunities to air it out. We spent a lot of time this year working our pass protection and giving him some time and doing some different wrinkles to make sure we can use his arm strength and his intelligence. Very smart young man.
Fantastic. So we talked about running back. We've talked about quarterback. Now talk to us a little bit about the defense. What do you expect from that group this year?
It starts with Owen Spearing. He doesn't leave the field. He's kind of like Shahid just in terms of his skill sets. He was long snapping. He was one of the leading tacklers in the section. He is a great linebacker for us. Our defense is physically not a real big unit, but like our offense, we're relatively small if you looked at weight and height, but very, very athletic and very quick group. Our defensive line, we've got kids 210, 220. Our defensive ends 220, 210, 215. So we're not, we don't have that 290-pound kid.
Sure.
But we're going to rely on a lot of speed. We really feel that that's the strength of our team all around offense and defense is our speed and our ability to blitz, to create, to move the line of scrimmage, but do it with blitzes and really forcing gaps on an offense.
Yeah. I've been dominating the conversation, Coach. What you got?
You just stabbed me. No, I mean, watching Auburn, it's nice to see where they are now. A few years back, you'd watch Auburn play, and the other team would have like 60 guys on their sideline, as opposed to how many guys that you have. So, to get into where they belong, in that talent pool that they've got, and even though they played those bigger schools, they were still competitive. I mean, we're talking, Nazir Smith running up, and he's talking about 30 carry. A game backs, that was one of those kids. But, when you're outside of your norm and you're going against a CNS that has a roster of, I don't even know how many they had, but it was quite a few. So, when you got that, we always talk about being, Auburn, the demographic, there's a smaller pool to draw from. And now I think they find themselves where, they're competitive. They're playing schools with the same kind of demographic. And I think it's at the right time because some of the kids he's got on his team, like Owen Spearing that he mentioned, he's everywhere. You go to an Auburn game, you hear his name constantly. Troy Cherney, watching him develop, halfway through the year and making plays. I think it's an exciting time, to be where they are now. And I think it's going to be a lot of fun going there Friday nights to watch games. So I'm looking forward to it. He sees me all the time at the games. I love it. So yeah, I think this could be a big year for Auburn.
Yeah, good stuff. So mentioned the numbers. I got to tell you, I had the opportunity to go out to your first practice. a lot of kids, a lot of big kids, a lot of athletic kids. Definitely that program, I think, as Dan was saying, teams in Class A teams in Class A are going to have their hands full with the Auburn Maroons. What else do you want the people of Auburn to know about this year's squad?
I think that for what we've done is, even though we've gone down to A, I think we've spent a lot of time working out with AA teams.
Sure.
And we still believe that's the best way for us to compete and get better. We spent June doing a team camp, but then we went to a thud camp, a 2-day thud camp in Syracuse, competing against AA schools. All summer we did mixed practices, mixed scrimmages with West Jenny and CNS, two very powerful AA schools. CNS, one of the best in state. And today we just finished up a joint practice with West Jenny. So our mindset was, we are down in A, but we want to keep competing in the offseason against the AAs. We feel that's the way that we can take that next step. For 5 and 4 is good. It's not good enough for us. We believe that we belong higher up in the A's, that we need to do a lot better than 5 and 4. So we said, let's go against the best. Let's develop our skills against the best, and we spent a lot of time doing that this summer.
Well, that is definitely a way to do it. So this Saturday morning scrimmage at Central Square, Auburn and Janesville DeWitt competing at Central Square. What do you look for in these preseason scrimmages?
That's a great question, because each year I think it's different based on the dynamic. And last year we spent a lot of time. We were on the field with the kids. We were giving instruction. We were moving kids in. We hadn't had our position group settled yet. We're trying kids out in different groupings. It was almost like a controlled practice with officials. This year our goal is we want to get up there and treat it like a game situation. We're not going to be on the field. We're going to call everything from the sideline. Right. We want to move that ball down the field. We want to set the tone. Everything that we're going to do that we have control over is game speed 100%. On and off the field substitutions, first unit, second unit. We're going to move on and off like it's a game.
Oh, sounds great. September 6th, opener at Henninger. So sticking with the big boys in the Syracuse City School District.
Yeah.
So you're going to open right up with that AA school right
Two
from the
AA's,
get-go.
Henninger, and then Penfield's a AA school from Rochester. And Henninger, we're a team we've battled out, for years.
Yep.
We've duked it out with them, and they're always a tough team, loaded with athletes. So we love that test in the opener. As a non-league, we'll find out where we are in that first game for sure.
Oh, sounds good. Dan, you have any questions for Coach?
No, I'm just kind of excited to see, what this year is going to bring, especially with the kids he's got on the field. I know quite a few of them, and the thing about this group, they're good kids, man. They really are. Got some really good kids that, you always get them kids, they think they know everything. Yeah, let's be honest.
Yeah.
He's got a group there that, man, they're eager to learn. They're coachable, and I'm excited. I can't wait.
Well, you hear I say this all the time, but I don't think there's any nicer place to watch a football game than at Holland Stadium and on the home of the Auburn Maroons. And so people Auburn and the community, get your butts out to Holland Stadium for some great football with your Auburn Maroons this fall. Coach, thank you very much for coming in. We really appreciate
Absolutely.
it. And we're going to be following you all season long on the Sports Express Network TV show. Hopefully we can get you, the rest of your coaches, some of your players in here. We'll be following and getting stuff out through our digital media packages, those types of things. But really looking forward to covering and seeing, what Auburn High School is able to accomplish this season.
Let's get it going. I love it.
All right, sounds good,
Great.
Coach.
Thanks so much.
Thank you very much.
I'm excited. Good luck, Coach.
All right. Thank you. Thanks.
We're going to do our segment, Ask Coach O'Hara. You ready?
I can only imagine.
No, this one's not so bad. So you've got two premier running backs in the NFL holding out for bigger contracts, guys under contracts, but you've got Melvin Gordon and Ezekiel Elliott from the Dallas Cowboys holding out. Dallas Cowboys have offered him a salary that would rank him second amongst running backs in the NFL. Still have to sign Amari Cooper. Still have to sign Dak Prescott. And so they're dangling lots of money in front of him. He's saying thanks, but no thanks. What are your thoughts on that?
I don't care.
You don't care.
I'm a Giants fan. Listen.
He's rooting for Zeke to hold out.
It's coming with Saquon Barkley eventually.
I understand.
So that's
but
unless
it's
they
not
ship
this
him off to
year.
Cleveland.
Well, yeah.
Listen, I 5-6 years ago, I would say, I don't understand it. I don't get it, but I do get it. The life of an NFL player is very short.
Especially running back.
And especially at running back. And, I personally would never be the guy that held out and not went to camp. I'd try to, work on my craft and try to get that,
Sure.
try to get that settled. But I get it. I understand it. I really hope he doesn't play this year. But
I'm just curious to get your thoughts on. Obviously, he's got to get he's got to provide for his family and all that type of stuff. But do these players also owe something to the team to try to get that, to take some type of discount in order to have the best possible team going forward?
players have done that in the past. Case in point, I think Troy Aikman did it 1 year. When he was with Dallas. People are different. People look out for themselves. If that's your future, I think the more shocking story is Andrew Luck. But
that was my next question.
Yeah, I understand why he's doing it, and I understand why Andrew Luck's doing it. You see more and more guys now that are coming to the forefront that are retiring early, who have a lot of game left, and I wouldn't be that guy, but I get it. I do understand it.
Yeah.
I'd love to see Zeke take some more of Jerry Jones's money, but listen, I get it.
Tommy, what do you think about Andrew Luck, calling it quits at 28, 29 years old? And more importantly, what do you think about the fans that are absolutely ripping the guy to shreds about the decision that he's making, supposedly for his own health and well-being?
Well, first of all, I'd like to address that. I think if you're a Colts fan and you're booing Andrew Luck after he's been through a lot with you guys. He's been through some pretty terrible offensive lines. He's taken a lot of shots to keep you guys in playoff contention. And if you had the opportunity to retire at 29 from a job that was very lucrative for you,
sure,
but you were hurt every second of every day, you would retire at 29 too, especially if you were set already.
Yeah.
So I think it shows that from Andrew Luck's point, that he's not compromising his own values to keep playing this game, a game that he of course loves and owes a lot to. But at the end of the day, it's about more than football, and I don't think anyone but Andrew Luck should be judging his decision to call it quits or not.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%. Again, it takes me back to what I was just talking to you about is when the players' needs are different than the team needs, what kind of responsibilities do the players owe? Like Andrew Luck came and retired right as the season was coming to a start. Does he owe the Colts any obligations to let them know before the draft, before the off season, before this, before that? I just don't know the answer, but I'm curious to hear your thoughts.
He didn't know that he wanted to retire until a couple weeks ago when he re-injured. I think he had a calf injury that he was coming back from, and then he re-injured his ankle, and that was a couple weeks ago. And from what I saw, that was sort of he was gearing up to play week 1. He got hurt again and then decided enough was enough. And I do understand the gripe of a lot of Colts fans that, you're sitting here with a roster that's sort of built around this guy and has a lot of potential because it's built around this guy. And all of a sudden that sort of is up in smoke, and you have a guy who's played well on occasion in the past in Jacoby Brissett. But the question becomes, now that he's not an interim guy, he's not a backup thrust into a role.
He's the guy.
He is the guy. There is no help from him coming in behind. So I think we'll see a lot of what Jacoby Brissett's made out of this year.
Pretty classy. We'll end this, but pretty classy move by the Colts. I guess Andrew Luck should have had to pay them back $24 million. The Colts said, keep your money, and I'm sure he'll be involved in the organization in some way, shape, or form. But very, very interesting story, and like you said, I think we'll be seeing a lot more of that. Guys are making a lot of money now, and they can choose to do other things very, very young in life.
We can always move to Auburn.
Yeah, exactly. We could use them.
We can take them.
Andrew Luck can play for the Pride next year.
I'm okay with that.
All right, and the last question, which I know you're going to add a lot of knowledge to our viewers with, is can you please provide me the fantasy football sleepers for this season?
That's tough off the top of your head. That's tough right off the
There was a
cuff.
point in time where I would have rattled off to you exactly what it was, but I had to separate myself from the fantasy
Yes.
football thing. We've had that talk. I will not. If you got Eli Manning, trade him.
Or just cut him. Nobody's going to trade for him.
Yeah,
Let the record reflect that Dan O'Hara is a real football guy, not a fantasy football guy. At this point in time in his life.
I like to watch the game, and I found myself switching channels to see who was doing what. Now they have the NFL Red Zone, which would really create some problems
that's a godsend.
for me. But yeah, I separated myself from that. I can't. Yeah, and I found it much more enjoyable.
So we'll get your thoughts on real football, but we'll leave the fantasy football talk to other people. How's that sound?
Yeah, wait till you get Coach Wilson in here.
He scoots the man when it comes to fantasy football.
Boy, he's the guy.
Sounds good. All right, scrimmage is coming up this week in high school football. We've got Pop Warner on the way, soccer, volleyball, cross country.
Pop Warner kicks off this weekend.
Game time. All right, this is the Sports Express Network bringing you the best of the community sports lifestyle. I'm Rob Bennett with Dan O'Hara and Tommy Friedenberg. We'll see you next week.